Welcome everybody to this week's Views from the 573 podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in wherever and however you are tuning in. Thank you guys for checking us out. Check out our other channel, Entertainment from the 573, on our various podcast platforms, Spotify, SoundCloud, iTunes, whichever your preference. You can also go check us out on YouTube. Go subscribe to that channel, Podcast from the 573. Go check out all our episodes that we do here on Views. We always upload. We're uploading them to YouTube now, so you can keep track of them. So be sure to check those out. In the meantime, we got a bunch of stuff coming up. Again, we got our 100th episode coming up. We got a special entertainment episode that same day. A big day ahead of us. We're going to be starting our NFL previews that day. We're going to start with the AFC North. So be sure to get ready for that. Entertainment's going to be special. Peter's going to do his own, how he would create the DC Extended Universe, I guess is what it is. He's gonna, I don't know if he's done with it, but he's gonna create it, and we're gonna discuss it, and it's gonna be a fun, crazy time. That's in a few weeks. July 10th, mark that down your calendars. This week, however, we got a bunch of stuff to get to. We got the NBA draft to talk about. That is this Thursday. The new future of the NBA is coming in. Zion, John Morant, RJ Barrett, several others are coming into the league starting on Thursday. So me and our old pal Jace Murphy, we sat down together. We talked the NBA draft, talked about how top heavy the draft is, talked about the prospects at the top, some prospects that are intriguing, some teams that have interesting choices to make on draft night, and we also talked about some dark horses and some headlines that we might see once the draft night is over. That'll be on later in the show. But we got a bunch to get to beforehand. We're going to close the show out with Encarnación, going to the Yankees U.S. Open winner. We're going to start off talking about the Stanley Cup and the NBA Finals. Both those are done. Get excited for those, everybody. The Blues are champions. The Raptors are champions. And the Parades were freaking nuts, and they were great. We're going to be talking about that. And also, you might have noticed, Anthony Davis finally got traded. It's about time. So we're going to talk about that, talk about the Pelicans and Lakers and how they did with both their sides of the trade, and what could be the outlooks for both those teams going forward as we're getting into free agency in about a week. And we'll talk about free agency next week since that's a little bit more closer. But yeah, that's going to be our show for today. With that being said, Peter, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. And I guess the note for that DCEU fantasy booking is I have ideas. I am shocked it's already June 18th. Tomorrow's my birthday, so that goes to show how quick time's going.
Happy birthday. Happy early birthday.
Number 24, baby. It's the Jeff Gordon birthday. Been waiting for this for years.
It's also the Kobe year.
He wasn't on the Knicks. I don't care.
In your dreams, he was.
Oh god! And like I think I told you and Matt this week about my weird dream where the Pittsburgh ABA team never made the NBA. They made the NBA, and somehow they became the Bulls of the '90s. The whole Jordan, Pippen, the retirement. I was like, why did this happen? I like it. That's a good idea and all, but why did it happen?
Don't question it, Peter.
That's what happens when the Knicks are bad. My brain just tries to feel like, well, most of your teams have done you good. What can the Knicks do for you, or basketball-wise can do for you?
Nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
So yeah,
Penn State has more championships than they do, and they're technicality championships.
Wait, so y'all are claiming national championships like Alabama over there?
Hey, NIT's technically a championship.
Aww. All right. On that note, no NIT championships here, Peter.
Yeah, this is why basketball Peter's going to be just a nuisance once it comes out. Next year's going to be a nightmare for everybody.
No. I can't wait to find out who your new NBA team is in a few weeks.
It's probably going to be the Knicks. Let's be real. The wheel will kill. The wheel will not forsake me that way.
Peter, if the wheel somehow ends up landing on the Grizzlies, me and Jace are going to welcome you with open arms, buddy.
Oh, I imagine you guys know all the drinking spots for that.
Oh, man. And hey, there's a chance you could be a Spurs fan, so you could actually be a fan of a team that Matt likes for once.
That's the grossest thing you've ever said on this show.
Hey, at least you'll be a fan of a stable organization.
I mean, Pop's good and all, but I want some interest in my life.
Oh, then
Like the Steelers, they're giving me basically a reality show. It's great.
well, I don't know how much of a reality show we'll get within the next year. It depends. Big Ben, make something happen. All right, moving on to the Stanley Cup. Of course.
We went Blues.
Somebody play Gloria in the background because we can't because copyright.
Yep.
The Blues end up winning Game 7 last Wednesday 4-1 on the road at Boston nonetheless. A great road win. In fact, I think I saw Boston Bruins fans celebrating a couple days ago. I was like, why are you guys celebrating? For a good season? I was like, now Boston, you're stooping really low there. But Blues end up winning this one on the road. I believe they were up 4-0, and then the Bruins got a garbage goal late. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was like 3 minutes left in the game. It was, an empty netter. They had 6 men on the ice.
Yeah.
It was going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to say, I was correct last week. Momentum does not exist in this series. It did not matter that Boston won Game 6, 5-1?
Yeah.
Didn't matter. The Blues came in. They kept it interesting in the first period, and at the end, I think it was like 2 goals. And that was pretty much the beginning of the end, and the beginning of drunk Brett Hall.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later. We'll get to the game first, but yeah, the aftermath was maybe better than the actual win itself.
Yeah, so Blues end up winning that one 4-1. Ryan O'Reilly gets the Conn Smythe Trophy, the MVP. And I will tell you, that was a great choice for MVP. And I'm not saying that because of his performance.
I mean, he tied Gretzky. That's all I need to know. I know the argument is there for Binnington.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gotten obvious, but you tied the guy who's considered so great they had to retire his number across the entire NHL. Now, I'm not going to say there's a man named Mario in a certain Steel City that, might be a little better, but hey, you know what? That's just me.
Yeah. But yeah, so the Blues bring the Stanley Cup trophy home. It is great seeing the aftermath of it, like you said. Our good buddy, our old pal Shane Burke somehow made the TV. He's now famous. We know somebody famous, Peter.
Yep, the local Fox station, just Shane Burke celebrating in the background.
Wouldn't have it any other way. All right. So let's talk about the aftermath of all this. Let's talk about the parade and everything because you mentioned it earlier with Brett Hull.
I wish someone told me about Brett Hull a long time ago because that would have made the Blues my favorite Western Conference team by far. Now, unfortunately, I'm committed to the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, I'm kind of stuck here, but that man is a legend.
Oh my goodness!
Coming out just drunk in a Ric Flair shirt, slurring the lyrics to Gloria. He didn't even say Gloria; he said like Gloria. Just, and there was I saw Instagram footage of it's like 3 a.m. before the parade, like people were setting up, and he's just walking the streets of Soulard, like, what you guys doing? I don't think that man has been sober for the past week.
Oh, I would put that over or under at about like 90%.
He's beautiful.
Oh, the parade was just crazy. I saw a video of Binnington and John Hamm celebrating, so there's that.
Players like falling off the vehicles, like they kept stopping the vehicles, like, that was the big thing that I liked, that they were interacting with the crowd.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll get into the Raptors one later, like, it was fun and all, but, the Raptors just, sat in the vehicle and waved. I mean, the Blues made what was supposed to be, an hour parade, 4 hours, because they kept getting off and, letting fans touch the cup.
Yeah.
Boy, people's livers were probably hurting that morning.
Oh yeah. I don't imagine that. I imagine that they were. Whew. I know some of the Blues players' livers probably were, so not Brett Hull's though.
I just think his liver's immortal to anything that happens. But hey, you know what? You might as well drink, because this is, I mean, it took 50 years to get here. Officially we can say every team from the 1976 expansion has won a cup.
Yeah.
We can finally say that.
Yeah.
And this is the weirdest, this was the last Blues team I would have ever expected to win the cup. Especially after, Oshie got traded, all that stuff. I mean, with the exception of two former Pens players, Perron and Sundqvist, there is nobody. Everybody else was in their first Stanley Cup appearance.
Yeah.
So you're welcome, St. Louis. Pittsburgh helped you with the experience.
Oh, man.
Can you still tell I'm butthurt that those imbeciles got swept in the first freaking round? But, I mean, they beat an experienced Boston team. I'm Bergen, Chera, Krejcik, Hug, Manchard. I mean, they were all there and Rask, of course. They were there for both of the previous Stanley Cups the Bruins were in. So this was pretty much experience versus no experience by far.
Yeah.
Because even Perron and Sundqvist on the Pens, I mean, they were just not main players. I mean, Sundqvist, you were the center behind Crosby and Malkin. You were never going to play.
No. Not behind those two.
And even Perron, I think he played like 43 games that year, but even then, with that roster, he was nothing. So, I mean, realistically, this was pretty much, hey, you guys got to figure it out, man.
Yeah, you got to.
But yeah, Binnington was just a absolute force to be reckoned with. It just went right. I think it was all there for once.
Yeah, it was all there. Everything fell their way, and now they're Stanley Cup champions. Mm-hmm. How about that?
Yep, so, this party lasts until October, I guess, right now.
Yeah.
Because the Cardinals aren't going to do anything at this point.
Well, the Pirates aren't either.
Oh, no. Josh Bell is going to be traded by the deadline. Mark my words.
That's going to be for a couple mid-level prospects.
Oh, if that. But yeah, enjoyed St. Louis. Winning the Cup is, I would say, the most fun championship to win.
Yeah.
Because, you can keep your Lombardi trophy, you can keep the Commissioner's trophy, you can keep the, what's the NBA trophy called, Larry O'Brien trophy. You can't keep the cup. It's only yours until the season begins. And then it goes to its hibernation. Yeah. So you got to enjoy it while you can, because there's no guarantee you get it back ever again.
Well, we know Ovechkin did last year.
Everything Ovi did last year that we thought could never be topped, I think we're going to find some Blues players that are going to do it.
Oh, man.
I mean, Brett Hull has already surpassed Ovi's entire run in a single parade.
All right. From one championship to another. Game 6, NBA Finals, last Thursday. That happened. Of course, Kevin Durant no longer playing. Tore his Achilles, and it's looking like he's probably going to be out for over a year. So we might not see Kevin Durant in the upcoming season. It might be until October of 2020 till we see Kevin Durant on a basketball court again. But who knows? Crazier things have happened. So Game 6, Thursday night, Toronto up 3-2. Now, I said Golden State was going to win this one, and that we were going to get a Game 7 on Sunday, which I would have loved. It would have been amazing. But we get Game 6. Kyle Lowry, after hitting the shot off the backboard, he redeems himself and comes out firing and makes about 4 of his first 4 shots, all threes. And which was like, okay, we're getting redemption. We're getting Kyle Lowry redemption mode or something like that. He's on a mission. So we get that. Kyle Lowry, he had a great game, by the way. 26 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds, played 42 minutes, had an awesome game by far. His best game of the series. This game was back and forth for a while. Toronto in our halftime with the lead. And then later on in the game, it was just knockout punch after knockout punch. And then you get Klay Thompson, which, you know what? Let's talk about this for a second. So Klay Thompson falls down awkwardly. it looked like it's his knee. You don't know what he did to his knee. He goes back in the locker room, and then he comes back out, and he gets the loudest roar. And that's the last game in Oracle Arena, too, by the way. They're moving down to San Francisco in their new arena. So this is the last game that's ever going to be played at Oracle, all the memories. And there's one last one there. Gets a big roar. But the reason he had to come back out is because if he had to shoot the free throws. And so they brought him back out. They took him back in. They found out it was a torn ACL. And both KD and Klay are free agents this year. And so with Golden State, I think you have to resign both, and you just got to hope for the best. Now Klay's injury isn't as serious as a Achilles. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, we're talking about an ACL here, but
Yeah.
His recovery period is not going to be as long as KD's is. Klay's is going to be about maybe till March or something like that. That's me assuming the latest. And then we'll get him back later on in the season. KD, I don't think we'll get him back. Now, if they make the finals, he can make an appearance.
Well, that's what Future Matt suggested last week. The whole idea of, resign. Well, he has the option to resign.
Yes.
So, I mean, you can sit out. I mean, what team do we expect that can make a run to the finals next year? Probably still the Warriors.
Yeah.
Even though, with Klay out for a year and KD out for a year, and they're in the West, it's still going to be hard. It won't be as easy as it's been the past couple of years, but I still think, they're one of the favorites to maybe make that run.
Yeah.
So I think that's on the table here, but yeah, you talk about the hunter becoming the hunted. This is not good for the Warriors by far.
No, this is terrible. And I saw a tweet that mentioned it's funny how Golden State started the run. They took pride off of beating teams that would have good key players hurt, and then that's how they were able to advance and move on through. It's funny. Golden State is now ending up on the other side of that, and finding out it's not so fun. It's not so easy. But looking at the winners here, the Toronto Raptors. Oh my goodness, who would have thought? Kawhi Leonard didn't even play his best game. Fred VanVleet, which, I mean, the dude's been on a tear since his son has been born. It's been magnificent. Pascal Siakam has played his best game in a long time in these playoffs. 26 and 10. You had other players giving contributions. Danny Green didn't do nothing. Mark Gasol, 3 points, 4 assists, 9 rebounds. But the Toronto Raptors win the 2019 NBA Championship. Oh, man, it was a fun night. There was a picture of Kawhi celebrating and them then stopping celebrating. And somebody said, oh, he's just rebooting. And, Kawhi's probably out there 5 hours later on the practice court. Hey, where's everybody at? I thought we were going to practice.
It's we won, Kawhi.
Hey, that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, no one ever uploaded the Win the Larry O'Brien Trophy software to him. He doesn't understand that concept yet.
No, he doesn't.
But the AI did learn to go with the joke during the parade, which was great.
So let's talk about the parade. So first off, unfortunate circumstance. Couple people end up getting shot. Thankfully, no life-threatening injuries there. Just stupid and senseless act right there. But yeah, we got the parade.
I'm glad you took that route because I was not going to take that route.
Yeah.
You just went straight to it. It's I know Peter's a loose cannon. He'll make something of it. So let's just get it out there.
Oh yes. So there's a bunch of fun stuff going on at the parade. Besides that, that's not.
It's a whole million people. It was.
Oh no, it was crazy. I saw somebody joke. I don't know if this is true, but Drake's plane. Somebody's saying that Drake's plane was doing victory laps around the parade. Which.
I mean, Drake has the money to do it. It wouldn't surprise me.
I saw another photo of him. I don't know if this is real or Photoshop, but him, DeMarcus Cousins, and Anthony Davis, of them together. It's who would have thought Drake would be the first one out of those three to get a ring? It's that's true.
My favorite meme of that was the picture where Carmelo's in the foreground, or the major subject. You have Jeremy Lin in the background. It's like, who would have thought after all these years, Jeremy Lin would be the first to get a championship?
Shout out to Jeremy Lin for getting a championship.
Doing nothing, living the dream.
I know. Also,
my man.
Also, Mark and Powell, the first brother duo to ever win NBA championships. So, good stuff for them. And Kawhi, really rare. I think the first player to win Finals MVPs playing in the Western Conference and in the Eastern Conference. So, crazy stuff going on there. But yeah, at the parade, you had Kyle Lowry and Kawhi's agent, Uncle Dennis, chanting 5 more years for Kawhi. That was fun. You also had... Now, Peter, I would say Marc Gasol was the J.R. Smith of this parade.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was chugging wine. He was doing everything. Somebody said they should get him a harness because they're afraid he might fall out. Like, he's doing the Conor McGregor dance. He's doing the thing of Olay with the fans. And, like, my goodness. It's like, at least Mark wasn't shirtless like JR. Yeah. JR was shirtless for about a week. I'm being too generous there. For about a solid month. But it was just a crazy event. You had all that going on. You had fake Kawhi Leonard taking photos and signing autographs. Which is just fun. I saw somebody say, Andrew Wiggins, you're trying to be too slick there. We know it's you. Also, Peter, it might end up looking like there's some rumors going around that you guys might end up with the supposed Canada savior, Andrew Wiggins. So, yeah, enjoyed that.
Yeah, all right.
But yeah, Kawhi was fun. He's a fun guy, Peter.
Oh, yeah.
He wore Board Man Gets Paid shirts. Oh, man. If somebody... There's a guy called Plant Guy at Toronto, and he gave Kawhi a coactus. Which I was like, how's this the first time I've ever hearing of this? This is great. And they handed it up to him during the parade. You had everything that going on. And then you had Kawhi reenacting his laugh. Oh, he's a fun guy, Peter.
Yeah, he is. He's one of the most interesting men in basketball right now. And also, you can't forget the fact, he came off a season where they played 9 games.
Yeah. Hey, listen, he's a fun guy. He's not pouty guy like Matt Mormon is saying over here.
No.
He's still mad about him getting his way out of San Antonio.
Yeah. Hey, Pop, remember when you found a team that Kawhi wasn't wanting to go to? Well, look how that turned out.
Oh, but no, both the parades were great. They were great. It gave us great content.
In terms of what you'd expect from an NHL and NBA parade, it succeeded both expectations.
Oh, yeah. Like, you had a whole country celebrating yesterday. Like, I'm looking at somebody. People got out of their cars on the freaking highway to watch the parade. We're like, this is fun. This is great. I want to experience this one day. But who knows? And also, I guess the last bit here, there's a great photo since Peter... We were MMJ majors. There's this great photo here taken by Frank Gunn. I think he works for a newspaper up in Canada. There's a picture of Kawhi. He's got his sunglasses on, and the Toronto fans are reflected in the lenses. And it's a great shot. And now we go on to free agency. Kawhi with what he's going to do. Is this enough? Is he going to stay, or is he going to go somewhere else? I mean, let's be honest, Peter. Even if he signs with somebody else, when he comes back next season, they're gonna give him a standing ovation.
That's the thing. Once you win the championship, you're pretty much done. Like LeBron, if he had left the second time for that championship, Cleveland would still hate him, but he won it. So you know what? At that point, it's like, man, we'd love to have you some more, but hey, you did the job, you did it. You got nothing else to prove at this point.
Yeah, you really don't.
I saw that picture under a meme that says, when you look at all the people you're about to disappoint. I still think there's a shot he resigns.
I do too.
But, I mean, anything's about to be possible in this coming free agency.
Oh my goodness, yeah. Yeah, we're going to talk about free agency next week. But, there's one move that might have happened. Peter, I don't know. We've been talking about AD for so long. Do you know who AD is?
Yeah, Anthony Davis, the unibrow.
Well, we've been talking about for so long. It kind of feels like he's already been a Laker in our minds.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. When the first trade request happened, when the Lakers were like, "Here's our whole team, take it," and the ownership was like, "Nah, we're not gonna take it for the lulz."
Yeah, you had that meme of Thanos. Like, what did it cost? Everything. It did kind of cost them everything. But you're dealing with different management here with the Pelicans. David Griffin, he's worked these big deals before with Kevin Love in Cleveland. He knows what he's doing. You're not having incompetent people like Magic and Dell Demps trying to work a trade. Which, to be honest, it was great fun while it lasted. But now AD, he's a Laker now. He's officially a Los Angeles Laker. So the details of the trade: the Lakers give up Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, Lonzo Ball. The Pelicans went Kuzma. The Lakers found a way not to give him up. And here's the thing with Ingram and Ball: since they were high draft picks, they have higher salaries than Kuzma. And so Kuzma, you're keeping him for about $2 million. Whereas for the others, I think they had options, and you're paying them in upwards of like $8 to $11 million for those options. So that saves you on some cap space, and we're going to talk about that here soon. But you trade those guys, you trade the number 4 pick in the draft. I will say before our draft preview with me and Jace, there's a little disclaimer. This trade did not happen while we were doing our preview. So if you want to enjoy all the speculation that we had, go ahead. But they traded the number 4 pick. They don't trade their 2020 pick because I think there's something with like trading years and back-to-back years. They trade their 2021 first-round pick with reverse protection. I believe it's New Orleans pick if it's in the top 8. 2022 unprotected first-round pick if the 2021 pick falls outside the top 8. In 2023, you get a first-round pick swap. 2024 unprotected first-round pick with right to defer until 2025. And so, Peter, we're not going to see the effects of this deal until at least 2024. The Lakers trade away 3 first-round picks. Well, essentially, they traded 5 first-round picks because Ingram and Lonzo Ball were taking number 2 in their respective drafts. And so this is the haul that the Pelicans are getting for Anthony Davis. So let's talk about this. I guess let's start with the Lakers. The Lakers, hey, they finally got their man.
Mm-hmm. They got LeBron's, Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
This is LeBron's 7,000th Scottie Pippen. So, but hey, I think this one can work.
I do have my doubts, and I expressed them in the draft preview about the fit with him and LeBron, whether AD would be relegated to a Kevin Love type of role, which I don't think he will for the most part to some extent, but I could see where that could play out.
Well, I mean, that's the big thing about this whole LeBron Lakers situation is that in this whole ownership disaster, we've seen how, how LeBron plays the game. I mean, we've known it since, Miami and, of course, the second round of Cleveland. But now more than ever, with that attitude and, this organization, which, hey, yeah, sure, they got rid of Magic, but let's not think Jeannie Buss is the most stable person in the world here. Yeah. This is something that can go wrong very fast. And let's also remember, LeBron doesn't even seem interested anymore. He's only in LA for his film stuff.
Space Jam 2, where you at?
Which, Friday the 13th, where's that at? But yeah, I mean, Davis, I think it's fair to say, top 15 player, Ryan, in the NBA?
Oh, I think top 10.
Okay, I was just being conservative because I'm, not an expert at this yet.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get back to that, but yeah, I don't know how they're gonna do this, especially with Kid on the coach. Why? I get it. Oh my God, what a team. I will absolutely say the Pelicans won this by far.
I'm kind of leaning that way too.
Especially with Zion coming in, there's been talks about they're going to trade the 4 pick to get Bradley Beal.
Oh yeah.
I've been reading some of that. I'm just thinking Ball, Ingram, Hart, Zion, Beal. That's a hell of a team, and especially with Zion, who's, he'll pass it to guys. He'll create some openings. Ingram and Ball and Hart, I've heard that they kind of have a good repertoire of each other.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is a team on the ups right now.
Yeah.
They finessed their way into the best situation.
Yeah, they really did. You got nice young pieces around Zion. The lobs with Lonzo and Zion are amazing, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they got Drew Holiday, who's very good in his own right. You get somebody like a Bradley Beal, or maybe you trade that fourth pick for somebody like him, Clint Capella, Miles Turner, both very talented, skilled bigs. You do that, you've got an interesting team there with the Pelicans. And sure, their roster may say rebuilding with a bunch of young players, but I don't think necessarily they are.
No, I mean, Ball, Ingram, and Hart have the experience. We know that. And also, from a contract standpoint, especially since they're getting rid of Davis now, do they have a potential chance to get a big player in the free agency, or is that kind of out of the way?
Well, for the Pelicans?
Yeah.
I don't think they'll go after anybody big, and plus I don't think anybody big is out there looking to go to New Orleans. But
Okay.
I do think there's that flexibility there in a year or two, where you can maybe do something there. But who knows? Speaking of one cap situation to another, let's talk about the Lakers. So, of course, 80 it comes with a big salary, of course. And so, the start of the NBA league year is on July 6th. And Adrian Wojnarowski, who broke the story, says the Lakers would, if the trade goes through on July 6th, the Lakers will have just 27.7 million in cap space. Also, Anthony Davis has a trade kicker that he could decline and make that 27. But if they don't, if they want to wait on the trade, they can wait and do the deal on July 30th, in which case they would have more than 32 million, which would allow them to sign another max player. Right now, they don't have the flexibility to do that. And so if they want to wait till July 30th to do the deal, and do that and get more cap space, they could officially go and sign Kyrie, Kemba, Jimmy, Kawhi, whoever they're going to go after, and whoever they can get a commitment from. But I'll say this, Peter. I think even though Kyrie, Kemba, Jimmy, Kawhi, they're all great. But I think if you're the Lakers, you did just trade away 3 good assets who are also very key pieces for depth. And listen, you have a bunch of money. If AD declines the trade kicker, that gets you 27 million. I think you go out and sign a couple bench players. Some high impact level role players like a Danny Green, Seth Curry, Trevor Ariza, Brook Lopez, who they infamously got rid of last year and didn't bring him back. I think that's the way to go. Get some guys around LeBron and AD, some guys that can shoot, some guys that are high level impact role players, and just find a way to build around that. Of course, you're going to have to find a point guard now because you traded Lonzo, but I think you can maybe bring back a guy like Rondo and have him fill that role for a year or two. I think you run with this team and you see what happens with it. And also, Kuzma, the only piece that they didn't trade, he's very good in his own right. He might end up being the best out of all those right now. He's definitely the most consistent.
Yeah. And I think that's what I was trying to get at the first time, is that if you're a high-skilled player, what makes LA such a, good destination for you? Because it's LeBron's team. Frank Vogel is going to be an underling to LeBron. We've had all these, leaks. What star player in their right mind would want to go to the Lakers right now? I would say probably not many. So, yeah, I think that's the only real way they can go, is you get, these bench players and you figure something out from there. Maybe prove to the NBA players that, hey, maybe LeBron can make this work. Because if he doesn't make this, I think this coming season is going to be super critical for the Lakers. Because if they don't do good, I think it's going to send a message to all the NBA players that LeBron's done.
Yeah.
Maybe not skill-wise, but in terms of orchestrating championships and success, maybe not anymore.
GM LeBron is dead. Lay GM.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's going to be critical here. I do not expect any big free agents to go to LA. I think just do what you were saying.
I think with LeBron and AD, that could be enough to get to a West Finals and get to a championship.
I mean, for most of the teams in the West, it's going to be enough, especially if KD and Green not or Draymond not playing.
Well, no, Clay.
Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, with Clay and KD out this coming season, Golden State's going to be down to just basically Steph and Draymond.
Yeah, and so let's talk about that.
And of course Boogie.
Well, I don't think they're bringing Boogie back at all. I think that's just a 1 year deal. That's kind of funny. He went there to go win a deal. We thought, oh wait, Golden State's going to win this. Like, nope.
Yeah. Sorry, Boog.
Oh man, that's where you get DeMarcus Cousins. the Sacramento Kings curse is still upon them. But yeah, and we saw the same with Golden State. Their depth, they didn't have a whole lot of it in the finals. If you build that, if you're the Lakers, that helps you out. And also, you bring up a good point there, Peter, because Golden State, they're not going to have KD and Clay for most of the year. And you were expecting at least Clay to still be there to re-up, and they were going to run back with those big three for next season. They were going to have to worry about KD getting him rehabbing if he did come back there. But now you don't have both of them. You got to figure out how to build your bench again, get pieces around Steph and Draymond. But also the West is kind of wide open, I would say. And even the East, because you don't know what's going to happen with Kawhi. But with the West, of course, there's rumored turmoil surrounding the Rockets and Harden and Chris Paul and D'Antoni and Daryl Morey aggressively trying to trade a lot of pieces on the roster. If you're the Rockets, I say you try to find a way to work out your differences and run the thing back. Because there's no guarantee Golden State's going to make the finals again. Even though they're highly favored to. But I think if you're them, the West is wide open. So if you're the Lakers, it's a good start. If they can get a third star, good for them. And with LeBron, we've seen how this works before. You get a star big and you get a star guard. And all LeBron's looking for right now is a star guard. If it's going to be Kemba or Kyrie. I know Kyrie and LeBron made amends last season, but I don't know if Kyrie is fully ready to go back to LeBron and team up with him after what happened with Cleveland. He'll be kind of looked at in a weird light, as if he isn't already, because he's a flat earther. Just had to throw that in there, but yeah, I definitely think the way to go is to build a bench. I think you got to. I think AD and LeBron, I think that's enough. They're both top 10 players. Surely that's enough, especially with Golden State only having Steph and Draymond be the two main stars that are there at Golden State, and then figure out what they're trying to do with Houston and turmoil. Who knows if they can get that figured out? But yeah, I think the Lakers, they're in a better situation right now than they were a week ago, for sure. Because now they got their second star.
Yeah, I mean, you can arguably say both teams, broke even on this. I would just say the future is brighter in the Pelicans because there's no drama. Whereas LA, woo, good lord, it's everywhere.
Yeah, poor. I thought just crossed my mind. I don't want to bring this up, but LeVar Ball talking about all this stuff. It's just crazy and fascinating, and oh man, who's giving him TV time?
I feel like every one at ESPN, especially the women of ESPN, are like, yeah, why are you still giving him a platform?
Yeah, I think it's time for that to stop.
Yeah, the man's hilarious, but I don't know. It's kind of running.
Give me a Stephen A. LeVar Ball talk show with them just debating back and forth. Oh man, that would be great fun. All right, moving. So that we'll make the transition over to our NBA draft preview. Me and Jace did this last Tuesday, I believe. I think I'm getting the date right. We did this last Tuesday. Again, we didn't know about this AD trade. There's a little disclaimer talking about that there before we start our preview. But we talked about top of the draft, all the players, all the interesting teams going on. It's about 55 minutes long. Hope you guys enjoyed. Again, the draft is going to be Thursday at the Barclays Center, 6 o'clock. Everybody get ready for that. Jace, buddy, how you doing?
I am doing good. Other than last night, I had my money on the over, and it went 5 points under, but we're all doing good.
So let's talk about the draft here. It's really top heavy. We got the Pelicans, we got the Grizzlies, we got the Knicks, top three. The Knicks are a really interesting spot, of course. Grizzlies are there. We both love them. You got the Pelicans there, probably getting Zion. I guess let's start with the Knicks and talk about them for a little bit. What do you think about their positioning going forward with the number 3 pick?
It's for sure top heavy. When I think with the Knicks is if I was the Knicks, I wouldn't go after AD. I would try to go after KD and Kyrie both, even though I know Brooklyn already has the cap space to get both. But if I was New York, based on what AD's done the last couple of years, I wouldn't even give him a max or even trade to get the max for him.
You know, the Knicks, they got some nice pieces. They got Kevin Knox, Mitchell Robinson, who they took last year, both of them. You got Dennis Smith. You got, who's the other dude's name? Frankie Ntilikina. I think that's how you pronounce it, but you got him. You got some nice young pieces there. You maybe could draft an R.J. Barrett there to pair them together and have a nice young nucleus there.
They still got Dennis Smith Jr. and who else? I think, and DeAndre Jordan, but I don't know how much DeAndre Jordan's value's dropped in the last couple of years.
Of course, you got the Lakers there, number 4. They can make a move for Anthony Davis as well. AD has come out and said that that's where he's leaning towards on wanting to go. I don't know about the fit there. And plus, the Lakers, they're in a mess right now. The whole Magic Johnson situation with him, Pelinka, Genie, you got LeBron there and stuff going on with him and Rich Paul, his agent. And it's just a very weird situation. It's kind of, LeBron is a polarizing figure, and the Lakers are a dumpster fire right now. It's a messy situation all around.
Oh, it's just a forest fire there in LA right now. They've been talking. I know I've heard Stephen A. Smith and a couple others say it's probably in like time to trade LeBron and stuff like that. But it's the Magic situation, the Buss family's situation, Rob Pelinka. It's just a horrible mess in LA. And if I was any basketball player, I probably wouldn't, any top level elite basketball player, I wouldn't want to go play in LA with what they got going on right now. Not to mention what LeBron did to the locker room, because Rajon Rondo came out saying, I think like a week ago, about how basically most of those kids that are playing on that team right now looked up to LeBron, and then halfway during the season when they were doing good, he wanted all of them traded. So, I think it's just a horrible situation in LA right now.
Well, what do you think about Zion as it looks like he's going to be drafted by the Pelicans? Do you see a bright future for him? What's going to be his potential impact with them within the first couple years and potential and long term? How do you think he's going to adjust to the NBA, to playing in a pro setting, to playing with the Pelicans, all that stuff? Is he going to be like everybody thinks he is? Is he going to be a once-in-a-generation type of guy? Or is he just going to be a guy that's going to be very good, make several All-Star teams, but not be a guy that goes on and is a legit contender for MVP every year?
I don't think he's going to be, everyone has the highest expectation for Zion just because of what happened in high school, what happened at Duke, and he's a once in a generational type of athlete. He's really the first of his kind of how he plays the game of basketball and his build. But I think Ja Morant's the best player in the draft. But Zion, you don't want to be the GM who passes up Zion Williamson at the number 1 pick. But I think he's going to be an all-star. I don't think he's going to be an MVP. I think he's going to be an all-NBA player. He'll have a great career, but there's a lot on his game he's going to have to work with to adjust to the NBA speed and the NBA shooting, because his athleticism is already there, but his shot's not there. He didn't shoot all that great from the 3. Most of his shots from 3 were mostly open, but his athleticism and defense and his post ability and just pure athleticism is good enough to get him by for the first couple years while he still develops the rest of his game.
So honestly, number 2, our Memphis Grizzlies. I know you and me were both excited. Now, where were you exactly when you found out? Because listen, I thought about you when this happened. It was like, man, he's as hyped up as I am right now. So where were you when this kind of went down? where were you when we found out, holy crap, the Grizzlies got the number 2 pick and are going to have a chance to get Ja Morant?
I was actually on my way to the lake. I started watching it on my phone, I think around where the 10th pick was. And when the 8th slot came up and Memphis wasn't the 8th slot, I honestly probably didn't believe it at the time. Like, I honestly thought there would be some kind of error. Draft night, Memphis is never the team who gets lucky. And then when I see it go down to 4, then 3, and Memphis still is not up there, I think we have a chance to get Zion, but we get number 2, and I couldn't believe it because I knew, at least I would hope that like Ja Morant would end up being the 2nd overall pick, and I think it changed the course for the Grizzlies. I think it sped up the rebuild process.
Oh, without that, this is going to speed up the process. You already took Jaren Jackson last year. Nice young piece. Showed some potential there. Now you add a Ja Morant to him, and that's a good duo going forward. A nice couple centerpieces. You don't know what's going to happen with Conley, Valanciunas, all this stuff, but you have 2 nice pieces to build your future around, build your new era around. We've been kind of wondering what the new era is going to be, what it's going to look like. This is a nice step forward into figuring out what era this Grizzlies team is going to be a part of. What's it going to involve and who's going to be involved in it. Now, I believe I heard a stat, and this is crazy. In the NCAA basketball, there's how many players have there been that have averaged 20 points and 10 assists, at least those 2 in a season? Only one person. Yep. It's Ja Morant. It's the guy we're going to get.
Ja Morant was one of them. Yeah, the only one.
You know, what's a good comp for Ja Morant? Is he somebody that can be... What type of NBA player does he remind you of? Because there's a couple I've had in mind. I thought of Westbrook, but what do you think about that?
His explosiveness reminds me of Russell Westbrook, although I think Ja Morant's more of a team player. He came out and said he's always trying to get his teammates involved. He's not looking for him to get 30 or 40, but he's always looking to get his teammates involved. But the explosiveness and his athleticism is almost just like Russell Westbrook. I think he has a better jump shot. I think he has a better he's better with the basketball than I think Russell Westbrook is. And he will be eventually. But yeah, that's the player that comes to my mind when I think of Ja Morant.
Now this brings up another question. We already have a point guard, Mike Conley. Of course, there's been rumors dating back to the trade deadline about whether the Grizzlies are going to trade him, whether they're going to keep him, what they do with them. Do you think it's going to happen around draft night, on draft night? I know you probably don't want it to happen, but well, let me ask you this. Do you want this to happen? And do you think it will happen around draft night?
If I had to guess, yes. And do I want it to happen? Yes and no, because I've always like, if you give me the option, still have Mark, Mike, Zebo, and Tony, I'd still rather have them and going 20 and 62 with them. But no, I think what they should do is trade Mike Conley, kind of put him in the same situation Mark is right now. And I know Utah is came up with a couple offers, and they're good offers, but selfishly, I'd like to see Mike Conley retire as a Grizzly, but the betterment of the organization, I think it's best to trade Mike Conley.
Yeah, I think so as well. When you look at it, I think you should do what you did with Mark. Trade him to a contender. Don't screw around and trade him to somebody like Phoenix and make a trade for the 6th pick. I agree. It's tough to move on. There's a couple nice offers out there. You mentioned Utah. Indiana is another one of them. That would be a nice pairing with him and Victor Oladipo once he gets back from his injury. They got a nice team down in Indiana. When he went down, people expected the Indiana team to lie down and just fall down the standings. But no, they stayed pretty consistent for the most part, stayed where they were. Of course, nobody were was expecting them to make it out of the first round, really, because you had Boston, Philly, Milwaukee, Toronto. But still, they had a nice team. That would be a nice spot for Conley. If he ended up there, good for him. He's going to end up on a very good team and get a very good backcourt partner. Utah, another good situation. It depends. You can maybe trade him to the Celtics, maybe get your pick back, make a swap for Gordon Hayward. I don't know. But at the end of the day, I think that's what they need to do. They need to do right by him and trade him to a contender so he can have a chance to get a ring like Mark is having right now. He's getting a chance to compete for a ring. I think you should do the same with Mike Conley. So moving on, what do you think? It's looking like RJ Barrett's going to go to the Knicks. He says he wants to go there. How do you think RJ is going to translate to the NBA? Are we going to see some of his play style like we did at Duke, or are we going to see a different type of RJ Barrett now that he's not paired with Zion?
RJ, I think he's probably going to put up the best numbers the rookie year because I think overall his build and his shooting ability and his ability to get his own shot will make him good for his first year in the league. But I don't think he's going to be anywhere near the star power of Zion, and Ja will eventually be. But I think RJ is going to have a successful NBA career. I think he's going to be a good NBA career, but I don't think he's going to be a 5-time All-Star. I don't think he's going to be anywhere near an MVP candidate or All-NBA. I think he's going to be a solid player. He's going to help, but he's not going to be the guy who leads your franchise to a title.
Well, listen, the Knicks need somebody because at the end of the day, they don't know what can happen. I'm going to play off of the cynical Peter Lewis Knicks super fan here, but I don't. The Knicks are in a tough spot. They had the cap room. Now it's looking like Kyrie's wanting to go to Brooklyn, which is crazy to think about it now. KD, you don't. It's a very weird situation here. KD could go there. Kemba, Jimmy, I don't know who else, but with RJ, it's a weird situation. The Knicks need somebody. They really do. Listen, RJ, he can go after and get his own shot. He did that at Duke. He did it a lot. Did it sometimes much to the detriment of Duke and ended up costing them in a few key spots. But the Knicks really need somebody. If RJ's the guy, go get him. If you want to pair him with whoever you get in free agency, do it. If you want to trade him for AD, do it. But if you want to keep him, that's fine too. He's going to be a guy that can be he's an alpha Andrew Wiggins. I'm looking at comps for him. One of the comps for him is alpha Andrew Wiggins. That's actually kind of funny considering Andrew Wiggins' contract. It's one of the most terrible contracts in the whole league. It might be the worst. Well, I don't know. John Wall and Chris Paul might have something on him for that. But yeah, RJ's a good fit. I like him. He can be their alpha, and he can go get shots for him.
Yeah.
Now let's move on to the Lakers. We're done with the top three. The Lakers at number 4. Again, this is a top-heavy draft. 3 really good players going top 3. What are the Lakers going to do? They don't really need another young piece. They already got enough young pieces as it is with Lonzo, Ingram, Kuzma, Hart. They need to do something with this one, and I think they need to probably trade it. It's probably the best interest of the team and not get a young player and again, this draft is a top 3 player draft. After that, who knows what's going to happen? Nobody knows who's going to go 4, 5, 6, or beyond. It's a crapshoot.
Oh no! I thought the Lakers would probably get a number 2 pick. I thought we would probably get the number 4, number 3, somewhere around there. But with the Lakers getting at number 4, I think it would be more in their best interest to trade that pick. Put whoever they want to trade to get AD or whichever star they want to go after, or clear cap space, or get some assets back. I think number 4 in either Lonzo or Kuzma or Ingram, you attach that to a trade and you'll get a lot of value from that. Because the number 4 pick, it's not going to be filled with. There's not really any star quality, or some player just wows you to death after the top 3.
And with the Lakers, they can go in variable situations here if they do decide to keep that pick. You got Darius Garland, You got Jared Culver, DeAndre Hunter's another guy, and Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish has fallen off. It's just incredible how much he was projected to be one of the first 3-4 guys taken in the draft, and now he's down in the lower tier of the lottery here, around the 8-10 area, somewhere around there. He's really fallen off.
Yeah, we were talking at the beginning of the year that RJ Barrett would be number 1, Cam Reddish number 2, and Zion at number 3, and now we're not even hearing Cam Reddish out. I think we're hearing at number 8 to the Hawks. But yeah, his stock is depleted.
And one of the comps I'm seeing for Cam Reddish as well, bigger Ben McLemore. That does not instill hope to me or in anybody else. It shouldn't instill hope into Lakers fans for sure. If that's who they want to get at number 4.
No, definitely not. I remember when LeBron James tweeted when Ben McLemore got drafted. I think he tweeted out that he's the next big thing. Like y'all sleeping on Ben McLemore, and I don't think he's had one actually decent season in the league.
No, he hasn't. He's been terrible. Now listen, in the Lakers, there's some guys that they could trade for. Of course, AD, you had that there. There's some other guys that I mentioned, and one of the guys I've seen mentioned is a Bradley Beal out in Washington. Because let's be honest, Washington's a dumpster fire too. No, Beal and Wall, it seems like they hate each other. Beal could be a decent fit there besides LeBron. We know how LeBron operates. He likes his spot-up shooters, and Beal is one of the best spot-up shooters in the league, and he can go and create his own shot.
I think like the Bradley Beal, I never even thought about nor about read anything. I'm sure there's articles out there about it, but I think Bradley Beal would be an amazing fit for the Lakers. I don't think he's a high usage rate guy. I think LeBron really works well with guys who has lower usage rates. AD's a guy who demands the ball a lot. I think there's conflict with LeBron and AD's interest as far as usage ratings and stuff like that, but Bradley Beal would be an amazing piece. Chris Paul, I don't know. I think he's going to remain a Rocket. I don't know if Houston's going to get it together or not. I said last year that trade, or when they let Lurik Malbute go, that was a killer. That killed him. That was an elite defender. He got buckets, and they didn't even get anything out of it because Carmelo only played 8 games. But I remember when they had that Chris Paul trade rejected to the Lakers.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Banana Boat team. That's not going to happen. Hey, David Stern isn't commissioner anymore. Adam Silver will let it go through.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right there. AD, he demands the ball a whole lot. Again, LeBron, the fit is questionable at best. Nobody's questioning AD's talent. Dude is one of the best players in the world. But the fit next to LeBron is always questionable. Could he become what Kevin Love did back in Cleveland as a spot-up shooter? And AD is not a spot-up shooter. He's a guy that demands the ball, gets in the pick and rolls, gets in the post, and does his work. Beal is somebody that I could see thriving alongside LeBron. Beal needs to change the scenery. Dude's a great shooter. We saw what happened after John Wall got hurt. We saw Beal's averages skyrocket and him become really good player for them. So yeah, again, it's all about fit. It's the way it is with a lot of the NBA, but in this situation, it really is about who's the best fit. AD, he's more talented than Beal, sure, but is he the better fit beside LeBron? I don't know. I don't really think so. It really depends on what the Lakers want to do, but who knows what the Lakers want to do at this point? Nobody knows. They don't even know. Now let's talk about the Hawks here because they got a interesting draft ahead of them. Looking at this Ring Your Mind draft, they have Cam Reddish going what's the risk reward there with Cam Reddish? Is there a risk reward with taking him in the rate if you're Atlanta? And Atlanta's a nice team. They drafted Trae Young, Kevin Huerter last year. 2 nice young pieces. They got a guy, I believe he was their GM. I can't remember his name, but he was in that Golden State organization. He knows how things are run. He knows how the team kind of operates, and how to build a team like that where you got 2 guys that are really good shooters, and both those guys are, and you got John Collins as well who came on last year. Could taking a guy like Cam Reddish, is there a risk reward there? And I guess let's see how that would work out because, listen, Atlanta needs somebody at small forward.
I don't think it would hurt as much. Like, I think the risk and reward is, I think the reward's greater than the actual risk of taking Cam Reddish at number 8 because you still got a lot of trade assets, like the assets that the Hawks have right now and the young nucleus at the Hawks right now. I think they're in an amazing spot. They're going to have Alan Craft for a year, who's not a bad basketball player. He just is severely overpaid. But you'll have 1 year of him. Trae Young, the Hawks played really good basketball towards the end of the year. They were competing with a lot of teams. They didn't really get it down defensively, but Trae Young showed a lot of potential in the final, I think, 20 games of the season, and almost took the Rookie of the Year award, which I think Trae Young should be front runner for Rookie Year of how he played the final games of the season. But if I was the Hawks, I would probably trade that pick and trade the first 2 first rounders and get a first round for next year, maybe a top 8 protected or something like that. But I think taking a chance on Cam Reddish wouldn't hurt the Hawks at all. I think if anything, it would be good for them. If it doesn't work out, then you can just dump the salary cap or trade him off somewhere. So I think it's really kind of it's not a win-lose, but it's not a win-win either. But it's good for the Hawks.
Yeah, I think so. If you had something like him and he works out, that's great for you. You got a nice young nucleus there. You add another piece of that. If it doesn't work out, it's number 8. So yeah, it's high in the lottery, but I guess you feel fine with that if you're taking a risk reward player like him, for sure. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Now, let's move on to Phoenix because they're in an interesting spot here as well with the number 6 picks. Phoenix, they got really screwed on draft lottery night. Whew. I bet a lot of Phoenix Suns fans were not happy with what happened that night.
And the Phoenix Suns have probably had just as much luck as the Grizzlies do in the draft. It's been a long ride for Phoenix fans, although they have. That team, I think, will be very scary in about 2 or 3 years. That team's going to be really good if they keep Booker, Josh Jackson, of course, DeAndre Ayton. They have some really good young pieces that I think they're in the best in looking at the next 10 years. That are the best setup team, if you can even look that far. But the Suns look really good. If I was the Suns, I'd go after Jarrett Culver if I was them.
Yeah, he's an interesting piece. He's 6'7", I'm looking at, but he's a guy that can do it all. Really interesting. Texas Tech was a surprise team last year. They blew everybody's minds. They went to the national title game, and he was a key piece in that and to why they were there. So if you're Phoenix, get another ball handler in there besides Booker. I think that's a good fit for him. Also, looking at some of the comps for him, I'm looking at Jeremy Lamb, Chris Middleton. If you can get a Chris Middleton type, and bear in mind, Chris Middleton was taken in the 2nd round in his draft. If you get a Chris Middleton at number 5, yeah, you want somebody who's maybe more in the range of like somebody who can be a perennial time all-star. But getting a guy like Chris Middleton at number 5 is no slouch. If you get a Chris Middleton at number 5 in today's draft, you hit a home run.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, if you can get any spot in the draft or anywhere, if you can find a Chris Middleton top player, it's worth it. Even if it was at number 1, Chris Middleton's an All-NBA top basketball player, and he's only played better since he's ripped his hamstring. Like that injury was horrible when he sustained it, and he's only played better since.
Again, let's remind people, Chris Middleton made an All-Star team this year. That Milwaukee team was awesome, and he was of course, Giannis is a big part of the reason why, and so is Budenholzer there. But Chris Middleton is too. Him coming back healthy and performing the way he did, that was huge. He's an all-star. The dude made the all-star team. Let's remind people of that. And also, one of the comps I'm seeing is Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon is another key piece on that Milwaukee team. Brogdon, that dude's a glue guy. He's good. He is.
People don't. I bet if you ask half basketball fan or any common fan of the NBA, if you could ask what Malcolm Brogdon has achieved, well, he won Rookie of the Year when he played. Now, granted, there wasn't really. What was it? 4 years ago when he won Rookie of the Year. The draft class wasn't all that great at the time, but Malcolm Brogdon is a great piece. He's not an all-star, but he's a great piece for a championship team or for any team.
Yeah, for sure. He's an important piece. He's going to be a guy that's going to give you solid minutes. I mean, if you have Malcolm Brogdon, you're getting a glue guy that's going to keep the team together, do what he needs to do. You need those types of guys in the NBA. Yes, you need stars too, but you also need those guys. Those guys are crucial. We've seen that with the Spurs and how crucial that is. If you get your stars, like let's take the Spurs for example, Duncan, Manu, Tony. You need some of those guys like a Patty Mills or Boris Diaw to help you guys out.
Exactly.
Yeah, so let's take a look at some other players that are going around. So Kobe White, is a guy that could be really interesting out of North Carolina. He's fast. He's about 6'5". Dude can shoot pretty well too. So I guess what do we think about Kobe White? I'm looking at somebody saying he's shades of Jamal Murray. What do you think about Kobe White and what he can maybe do in the NBA?
I think Kobe definitely has the speed. He can finish inside. I watched him against Duke a couple times. I watched him in tournament and throughout the season, and I feel he definitely has things to work on, but he is definitely a solid piece. I think he's going to do well in the NBA, and I know his 3-point shootings. I don't know his percentages, but when I've watched him, he seems to hit pretty deep threes, contested threes. He comes up in big moments a couple times, but I think he will be a decent NBA player. I don't think he'll be Kemba Walker. I don't know if he'll ever be an All-Star, but he is a good fallback plan with his potential. And if I was the Hornets, I wouldn't give Kemba the Supermax. They're the free agents that are going to be out this summer. You can use that money on going after someone else, but if you lose and Kemba's gone, you're kind of sitting back how you were 6 years ago, which I guess for Charlotte's really not much different from how they've been since they've been a franchise. But I think Charlotte would have to try to take a chance on someone else because Kemba's is a great player. He's all-star. But he's not going to lead your team to the playoffs, or he's not going to lead your team to a title. He's a great piece to a contender, but he shouldn't be your number one primary scorer or your number one guy.
And talking about Kobe, of course, maybe a spot there. Jordan likes his Carolina guys. Maybe you take him. I'm seeing right now in this Ringer mock draft, he's number 7 to Chicago. Maybe he somehow finds his way all the way down to number 12 where Michael Jordan takes him. And, of course, you got Kemba. Listen, Kemba's a nice player, but he's not worthy of the Supermax. You don't want to do that. Kemba's good. He's helped that team, but he's not really the type of guy to lead a team to a championship. And, plus, I don't think you want to pay that type of money to that type of guy. So, if I'm the Hornets, I'd probably move off of Kemba. If Kobe White is there at number 12, you take him. Don't look back. Kobe White's a solid point guard. You don't know if he's going to be how Kemba was, but at the same time, cheaper option, a younger option. You don't have to pay Kemba all that money. And the Hornets are a weird team. They're one of the weird teams in the NBA. They're middling on the road, but yeah, I think that's probably the way to go there. All right, let's talk about another Carolina guy, Nasir Little. Again, looking at my draft last year, guy was projected to be a top 5 pick. Now he's fallen off. Didn't really have that good of a year in North Carolina. Didn't shoot as well. He's a highly regarded 3-and-D recruit coming out of high school, but he didn't really show a whole lot of that. But this is a guy, again, risk-reward potential. There is potential there that excites people. Really athletic. I don't know. We'll have to see. What do you think about Nasir Little?
Being projected at 13 right now, I think any kind of playoff team or anyone with some good vets could surround himself around would be great in general. It wouldn't have to be a particular team, but his athleticism is great. He's a great athlete. He's an NBA caliber athlete, obviously, but his shooting is not as well as it was anticipated coming out of high school. He didn't shoot well at UNC this past year, and that just raised some eyebrows as far as what's this player actually capable of. But a team like Utah or a team, any playoff team with a bunch of vets on it or anything like that, I think would just be a good fit for his career in general. If he goes to a team that's tanking or a team that's not a playoff team, it really hurts him as far as his development would go.
Listen, look at this mock draft I'm looking at. 15, going to the Pistons. That's not a good spot. But if you're a team like the Heat, if you're a team like the Celtics have a whole bunch of picks. Those are two solid organizations that have solid vets around them, that have good coaching staffs, good management, good front office, that know what they're doing. If Nasir Little ends up in one of those two spots, those are great spots for him. Whether it's Miami or Boston, it doesn't matter. Both are great. If he ends up in one there, great situation to end up in if you're Nasir Little.
Right. No, a place like Miami would actually be really good for him. Because of Justice Winslow's, you can compare those two very, very closely. Justice has developed more of a jump shot now. He's shooting a lot better this past year than I think any other year he's been in the league. I might be wrong, but that's what I think. But if you put Nasir Little in Detroit, where there's no really veteran leadership, there's no winning tradition in the last Bad Boys. The Bad Boys 2 was in the early 2000s. That's the last time really the Pistons have been relevant. Besides with Blake Griffin, they were a playoff team this year, but I don't think Little is a good fit for that organization and that team right now. I think Miami would be better for Little's career because of the similarities between him and Justice Winslow. But I don't know. I don't really expect too much out of Nasir Little. He can be a good role player guy. He can be a good 3-and-D guy. Turn into a Justice Winslow player. That's all right as a starting player in the league. But I don't know. If I was a GM of a league, I probably wouldn't take my chances on Nasir Little. There's not much to gain unless he gets his three-point shooting down.
Yeah, I think so too. Again, the culture. You got Pat Riley there, Spoelstra. They've done this before. They've been there, done that. They know how to develop their players down there. They have a culture, no nonsense. And I believe the players that...
Well, yeah, Miami with Pat Riley, they have a different kind of culture down there. It's literally, as hard as it is to live in Miami and avoid the distractions, Pat Riley has a culture set up there. He gets 100% out of their players, although they kind of fell apart at the end this year. But a team like Miami, with the culture they have and the coaching staff that they have, is it would be. I think that would be his best fit because they make you work hard. They got Dion Waiters, at least for a season. They made him play out of his mind, and they've made guys like he used to play for the Grizzlies. I can't remember his name, but they've gotten a lot of good role players up there, and I think that would be good for Little's development because most of those guys on that team were guys that were counted out, really kind of thrown to the side, and they rejuvenated their careers for the most part. So I think Miami would be the best fit for Little.
Oh, man. I remember him back when he was with us. James Johnson, that's who you're thinking of. Oh, man. He was insane. I remember there was like a tattoo night or something, but yeah, that's who it was. But yeah, Miami, strong culture there. All right, so now let's move on to another player, Bol. Now, this is a guy that's really interesting. He missed some of his freshman year at Oregon. He's a really intriguing prospect, one of the most intriguing prospects in the entire draft. Now, again, with him, this could go one of two ways. You can either be the guy that everybody says he is, a guy that can stretch the floor. One of the negatives of him is that he's kind of slow, doesn't have really good footwork. But what do you think you can see from Bol in the NBA?
Oh, definitely. I think it could. There are two different kind of 7-footers, but you go back to Joel Embiid. I know Joel Embiid was picked pretty high in the draft, but Joel Embiid came in with a lot of injury questions, and I think that's why he fell a couple more slots to Philly. But Joel Embiid they had the kind of like same, not the same injury, but the same kind of like problem. The injuries, the 7 foot, and all this. But Bol, I think he's very much a risk worth taking, because if you take him in the late round, you're right. He has a potential to be an all-star type of player, and he also could be a guy who is like Hasheem Thabeet and gets out of the league in 5 years. But speaking of Hasheem Thabeet, he's trying to make an NBA resurgence. I read an article over that the other day.
Oh no!
And the last time Memphis had the number 2 pick, that's what we got for it.
Well, I'd say we don't have to worry about that this time, brother. We don't have to worry about that. Chris Wallace is not in charge anymore, so we don't have to worry about him taking somebody like that, or a former 5-star McDonald's All-American that played at Kansas. So at least we don't have to worry about that, you know? And like looking at some of the comps for Bol, the Ringer has present day Brook Lopez, Thon Maker, Kristaps Porzingis, although I don't really see that. But if he becomes a present day Brook Lopez, that's a good career. Brook Lopez has had a good career, and he's just learned to kind of stretch out to the 3-point line.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that like him and Mark really developed their game. Their outside game literally at the same time. I think they're kind of the same kind of players, and they both developed jump shots, which I think have saved their careers. It'd be hard for them to keep up without a jump shot right now. But Brook Lopez type player is not any kind of insult. It's a compliment that he can play. He's a great piece to add. If Bol gets anywhere near like a Brook Lopez type player, then a successful NBA career for Bol, and it panned out for whoever took him.
Yeah. All right, Jace. So we've gone over the top 3. We've gone over some intriguing prospects here. We've gone over some of the teams. Who do you think is a dark horse player that we can be looking back on and saying that guy? We underrated that guy, and that guy ended up being a really good NBA player. Who do you think that guy is in this year's draft?
Besides the top 3, I think DeAndre Hunter out of Virginia. I know he has to get his handles a little bit better. DeAndre Hunter, his body type and his athleticism, and he does have a jump shot. He is a player that NBA want, and I think he can be a next type of level, like part of this next generation of athletes that are coming into the NBA now. My dark horse is I don't know if it's really a dark horse. It's a long shot, but I think Taco Fall has a place for him in the league as well.
Oh man, Taco Fall.
I think there's a place for him in the league. Like Boban, Taco Fall is not a guy who can. Like, he's not going to be able to play 20 minutes a game. I think he'll be a good role player. I think he can have a good NBA career being at that height. But other than John Morant, in the top 3, I'd say DeAndre Hunter and Jarrett Culver had the most potential out of any other players.
Yeah, and Hunter, the game kind of reminds me of Leonard when he entered the league. Not really much of a thing of handles that he has. You don't see that. You see he's not as consistent as a shooter yet, but his free throw percentage and his 3-point percentage at Virginia, it does kind of lead to some belief that maybe he could be on an upward trajectory as he grows into the league and gets acclimated to everything going on in the NBA. Who knows? I'm kind of like you. I feel like that's a guy that we could look out for in a few years and say that guy ended up being one of the best players in this draft, and it's not even close.
Exactly. That's what I like about DeAndre Hunter's game. I really didn't notice it until the NCAA tournament, how much impact I think he's I think it's Kyle Guy. Kyle Guy is a phenomenal shooter, but I think the impact, the factor of the whole NCAA tournament and Virginia winning the title was DeAndre Hunter. His ability to space the floor out, take the weight off of Kyle Guy, because Kyle Guy was lights out in the tournament, and unfortunately for me, because I had Auburn. But yeah, that was one of the worst sports betting moments I ever had, because I had Auburn and Texas Tech on a parlay together. But and also I had Texas Tech on a futures bet to win the national title before the tournament started. So it was just a bad NCAA tournament for me. But DeAndre Hunter is the player that caught my eye the most in the tournament besides Ja Morant, because I've only seen Ja play about 5 or 6 times before the tournament, and I watched a lot of his stuff after his game against Marquette. But DeAndre Hunter's my guy. I think he's going to be an all-star, top of the NBA player.
Well, let me tell you, I had the opportunity to go see Ja Morant at SEMO when Murray State played at SEMO. They're both in the OVC. And what I decided to do, I decided to bum around SEMO. I was like, no, I'm not going to go out at all, even though this is a great NBA prospect that we're talking about. Let's talk about a couple other prospects. One prospect I think is a dark horse is Grant Williams. Tennessee, he was a leader there. I believe I think if I'm recalling this right, he won SEC Player of the Year in back-to-back years. Tell me that's true. I hope that's true.
Yes. I think he 2 straight years.
But he's a guy I could see making an impact in the league. Looking at some of the comparisons the Ringer has for him, I'm seeing Trevion Graham, P.J. Tucker, and everybody's favorite, and I'm looking at everybody's favorite comparison, Spurs-era Boris Diaw.
Oh, no, I don't know about that. I think the comparison to P.J. is really good. And I really hate to see that Tennessee team go its different ways. I mean, you only got 4 years, but I loved watching Admiral Schofield and Grant Williams play with each other. That was how much heart they play with, and the commitment they had to the game of basketball, and the physicality they played with is. If we were playing in 1980, they would probably be the top 2 picks in the draft.
Oh yeah, for sure. You know, I hated too, man. Like that team was so good with him, Schofield. You mentioned him, man. That's gonna be a regretful time for Tennessee basketball right there. Is to not find a way to win a championship with those two leading the way. And let's not forget, Jace, Spurs era Boris Diaw locked down LeBron James in the NBA Finals series. He contained him. He stopped him. He's LeBron stopper. Hey, it's a good. Hey, if you're Grant Williams, and if you're saying, hey, you're going to be this era of Boris Diaw where he essentially played LeBron to standstill in a couple NBA Finals games and did a really good job, I think you take that.
Well, to the contrary, J.J. Barea also locked down LeBron in that 2012 finals that people seem to forget about. J.J. I remember LeBron trying to back him down, and he couldn't do anything against 5'10", 5'9" J.J. Barea. Didn't LeBron get ejected, or one of the Heat players get ejected for basically slinging him, J.J. Barea, into like the out of bounds or something like that in the finals?
No. It was Andrew Bynum. That's who it was.
Oh, okay. That's what it was. Yeah, it was Andrew Bynum who did that to J.J. Barea. He's still in the league, and I can't believe that. There's still a place for J.J. Barea.
Yeah, it's really unbelievable. Unbelievable that he's still in the league. Hey, props to him for finding a way to stay in the league for so long. I believe he's starting for the Mavericks, too. So that makes it even more incredible. But yeah, shout out to J.J. Barea. Who would have thought we would have given a shout out to him during an NBA draft podcast? But the mock drafts I'm looking at, I'm seeing Grant Williams go to the Celtics at number 20. if he ends up there, or who knows if he ends up being a lottery pick with the Celtics taking him at 14. Celtics have a whole bunch of picks again, by the way. How day and age does it, I don't know. But Grant Williams, that would be a nice fit for him. He gets to learn under Al Horford, which this guy is a class act. He knows what he's doing. He's been in the league. He's been there, done that. He's really, really good. And he's going to be at the Celtics, I think, for another year. So that would be a great guy for Grant Williams to come in under if he went to the Celtics, to learn under and learn how to operate in the NBA.
Oh yeah, Al Horford is he's straight all class. He's great guy off the court, and he'd be a great guy to learn underneath. And also you'd have Marcus Morris, I believe. Marcus is playing for the Celtics. And that's another guy that's found his place in the league, and I think they're around. I think Marcus and him around the same height, I believe. But I think anywhere where Grant goes is going to be a win for whichever team, because you know what you're going to get from him. You know he's going to give you 110 every time he goes into practice, every time he goes out to a game. His game might not be there all the way yet, but that's something you can work on with his level of commitment to the game.
All right, Jace. So with everything that we talked about today, what do you think is going to be the biggest headline once the draft concludes Thursday night? Is it going to be a team centric headline, or is it going to be a player centric headline?
Oof. Well, let's see. I think the biggest headline will be the lack of what the Lakers did. Is my big guess. That's my big thing. I think the Lakers are going to mess up draft night. As far as as their history is going right now, the last couple months, this has been a fire. It's just been a forest fire. And if they don't get it together on draft night, which I don't think they will, but if they don't get it together, they're in a lot of trouble. That franchise is in a lot of trouble if they don't get draft night right, or they don't, because I don't know how free agency is really going to go well for them. As far if you get a star, that's fine, but it's proven right now with the Warriors. I think the Warriors team that won against Cleveland the first time and the team that lost 3-1 to Cleveland, I think those teams are better than the Warriors teams right now because of the lack of depth. Lakers need depth, and they need pieces. And if they're going to trade Brandon Ingram, Kyle Kuzma, and Lonzo Ball for an AD or anybody, or just to get rid of them and clear up cap space for another star, I think they're going in the wrong direction, because they need those players. And I think Lakers are going to really screw up draft night.
Yeah, you're right. The Lakers, nobody knows what's going on with them. No, they don't really have a leader that everybody can go to. It's like, hey, what are we doing? You got Rich Paul there. You got LeBron there. You don't know what's going on with LeBron. Let's be honest. LeBron is a little bit shady sometimes, but he with all the stuff going on with the Lakers, it's intriguing to see what he thinks of everything that's going on. I'm sure, what did I just get myself into?
I am. I'm not anti-LeBron. I just think Michael Jordan's still the best player to ever play the game. So it's just working out. It's better for my argument when stuff's going like this for LeBron. But the Lakers, Jeannie Buss, she's proven to be very incompetent. She's not made the right basketball decisions. The stuff with Magic Johnson just went off the rails really fast. Nothing went as planned. There's rumors of Rob Pelinka being a backstabber, liar, and et cetera. And with LeBron being there in his hands, you just know, I don't care what anyone tells you, LeBron's fingerprints are all over the Lakers organization right now, trying to get what he wants. He destroyed the first step of it was destroying the locker room during the season, and that was just the first of many pieces that just fell apart for the Lakers. So if they don't handle draft night well, it's going to be it's the LeBron dream that they had envisioned is not going to work out as planned.
Now, you're still coming on for our 100th show. Is that right?
Yes, definitely. Would not miss it.
Well, we got a big show that day. A whole bunch of stuff to get to. But one of the ideas here that we're going to have is, of course, we got cynical Knicks fan Peter Lewis. And he's talking about, he's worried about the Knicks are going to screw something up. And so what we've been talking about, and it depends on if we can find a way to go live with this or if we'll have to find another way to do this. But he's convinced that the Knicks will find a way to screw everything up. And so what we're going to do, what we plan to do, Peter is going to get a wheel of all 29 teams, maybe put the Knicks back on there just to have a chance of him getting another chance at suffering with that fandom again. We're going to have him spin a wheel and pick his new NBA team. Which means, Jace, there's about, I'm not good at math, a 1 in 30th chance that he ends up a Grizzly fan. Hey, we'll welcome any Grizzly fan with open arms, right?
Yes, we'll welcome any Grizzly fan with open arms. We need every single one that we can get. All right, who you have for the Rookie of the Year next year? Who's your pick?
Listen, I think Zion. I think people are going to go with him. I think it is going to be Zion, but if it's John Morant, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to be happy. That means something good ended up happening for us this year. That means we actually competed. He was really good, and he was a big part of the reason why we were able to be so good and why we were able to compete with teams night in and night out for 82 games. If he wins Rookie of the Year, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to be happy. I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I don't care if I'm wrong.
Yeah. I'm not expecting like playoffs right away, but I'm expecting this Grizzly team to show some promise and some excitement. I expect this team to be very exciting, kind of how the Hawks were at the end of the year. But in my completely unbiased opinion, just straight, no favoritism, no nothing. John Morant wins in the landslide.
Yep, no bias here. We'll have none of it. Hey, we got it all done. This was fun, Jace. I had fun talking about the NBA draft with you. It's been a long time since you've been able to come on the pod. But yeah, thank you for coming on and doing this with me. Hey, listen, Peter's not the NBA guy around here. Matt has kind of had to take a step back from the podcast. So I'm really the only one on here on views that can really talk about the NBA and go into any detail. Again, Peter's a Knicks fan. He doesn't want to deal with the NBA. But, yeah, I appreciate you for coming on, man. This is a whole lot of fun to do. We'll see how everything will shake up on draft night.
Anytime. Glad to be back on.
Next time Jason's going to be on is going to be our 100th episode of Use from the 573. We mentioned earlier we're going to have the whole thing with Peter and picking his new NBA team. But we're also going to have we're starting our NFL preview. And, of course, we're going to start with the AFC North because we got Matt, the Ravens fan. We got Peter. We got the Steelers fan. That's going to be all great fun. And then we got the Browns and everything to talk about with them.
Oh. Take the over win total on Cleveland. It's at 7 right now. Put all your rent money on Cleveland winning more than 7 games. Put your rent money on it. The odds are -110, so make sure you get that. Make sure you go to your local sports book and put the rent money on the Browns for a return of probably double your money.
Listen, despite how much talent the Cleveland Browns have picked up, this is like the situation with Peter and the Knicks. Although the Browns aren't my favorite team, the Cleveland Browns will find a way to screw it up. Just please do not do it at all. So yeah. That'll do it for our NBA draft preview again. Thank you, Jace, for coming on and doing this with me. We hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, the NBA draft is going to be held at the Barclays Center on Thursday night. I believe it starts at 6 o'clock Central. That's when you can tune into all the action to see everything go down and the future of the NBA officially enter the league. All right, so we're back. Hopefully you guys enjoyed having Jace back on. It's been a while since he's been on. It's good to have him on to talk about the NBA draft. And he's going to be on for, at least it's still confirmed, he's going to be on for our 100th episode. Looking forward to that. Again, as always, that's in a few weeks. Again, it's coming up rapidly, coming up very quickly. So yeah, that'll be the next time you'll hopefully get to hear him, and we'll get to talk about everything going on with the draft, the aftermath of that, and free agency. We got a couple other stuff to wrap up here before we let you guys go. So we had another trade, Peter.
Mm-hmm.
A baseball trade. Edwin Encarnación got traded to the Yankees. Of course, he's the AL home run leader. I believe it was 21 less when ESPN ran the stat. So the Yankees get another bat to add to their lineup. And I know they're getting very close to adding Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton back to the lineup. How does this help the Yankees?
It's going to help them a lot because you think about Encarnacion at 36, you would think, okay, we're getting to the twilight. He's still putting up respectable numbers. Let's see, currently batting .241, 21 home runs, 49 RBIs. It's definitely something that's going to help the Yankees, especially when those two big names come back in. They do give up minor league pitcher Juan Thin, though, and some cash consideration, which is going to help the Mariners in the long run for their rebuild. Juan's going to be a pretty good pitcher, I would think. And, the cash, of course, for a market like Seattle, that can only help at this point. So it's interesting. It's an already overpowered. This is what the Yankees do. It's always overpowered to just, the nth degree.
Yeah, it is.
I'm so old, I remember when he was on the Reds.
Oh, I can too, vaguely.
Yeah.
I didn't think I could. Oh, man, he's been around the league.
Yeah.
When was he with the Reds?
I think like 05 to 09.
Oh, man.
He's been in baseball since like the turn of the millennium draft. I think like 99 or 2000.
Oh, man. That dude's been around. Holy crap.
Yeah, I think he's also been the Jays and, of course, the Mariners. I think it was the Indians temporarily.
Yeah.
Like a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah. So there's some baseball news. And also, since we talked about the U.S. Open last week, Peter, we have a U.S. Open winner. That's not any of the guys we predicted.
No, not by a long shot.
So, we said we thought Brooks Koepka. We thought Dustin Johnson. Nope. It's not any of those. It turns out to be Gary Woodland. 12th in the PGA Tour world ranking. He shot a -13 total, which is just crazy. He shot a -2 in the last round. Koepka, he finished second, -10. So, yeah, the U.S. Open happened, and it wasn't anybody who we predicted. So, now, I know is that the last major of the year, or are there a couple others?
No, the last one will be, they changed, I think it's the Open Championship, because they've, like, redone all this. Yeah, it should be the Open.
Okay.
Which will be in the UK.
So we'll have another big PGA major to talk about, everybody. Hopefully we get our predictions right for this one, because, be honest, we didn't even know this guy was going to win it. I don't even know if this guy was up for the odds makers up in Vegas.
I think his best finish before was like maybe like tying for like 10th at like maybe the Open at one point.
Oh, that's not too bad.
I think that's what I read.
That's not too bad.
So he's not super no name, but compared to the favorites we always McIlroy, Johnson, Koepka, Woods. This guy was not on our minds.
No, he was not on our radar at all.
Good little story there from Pebble Beach, as always.
Yeah. All right, I think that's going to do it for today. Now, is there anything else, Peter?
Well, Ryan, I'm glad you said something like that. Because, ladies and gentlemen, Twitter has a new member, and it's maybe the last person you would expect isn't the most fun. Orenthal James Simpson, the Juice, O.J. Simpson, has joined Twitter. And it's already perfect. It's exactly what you'd expect. Ryan, this is going to be great. He's already being OJ. He's offering
fantasy football analysis.
Screw you, Matthew Berry. I'm done with you. I'm going to OJ.
I don't care if you're an in-game Matthew Berry. That's not enough for me.
Yeah. Hey, Matthew. Because of you, it's probably not going to break Avatar's record. So thanks a lot, idiot. I have never been so excited to see what happens on Twitter until now.
Side note there for everybody wondering who O.J. Simpson is saying that we should take in fantasy football. Everybody that plays for the Bills and is from USC.
Pretty much.
So get ready for a bad year, Josh Allen, everybody. All right.
I can't believe this is what 2019 has turned into.
You know what? I can't either. Of all the crazy,
Jay's on
things.
All right, Ryan, shut her down before it gets crazy.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna do what Kawhi would do. Shut down mode activated. or I'm gonna reboot or whatever. All right.
Controversy detected.
All right. That'll do it for this week's Views from the 573 podcast, everybody. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, you can go check us out on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud. Go check out Podcasts from the 573, our YouTube channel. We'll have this one up here within the next 24 hours, we hope. So, yeah. We'll be back again for episode number 98 next week. Again, episode 100 is in a few weeks. So, everybody get ready for that. We'll talk about the NBA free agency period next week, since that's starting a little bit earlier. And we'll kind of preview that and give our thoughts on about where some of these big key guys are going to go starting the new careers for the 2019-2020 NBA season. So, thank you guys for tuning in, and we will talk to you guys next time.